to foster innovation and creative solutions. Followed by Namit Bharja, who is a consultant specializing in design thinking and innovative problem solving for evolving business landscapes. Followed by Bhavna Shrestha, who has been a national award winner, and she's a business leader with expertise in driving strategic innovation through flexible and adaptive approaches. Neelam Khernar, who is an entrepreneur with experience in navigating global market dynamics through creative export strategies. So we will call upon the guests to introduce themselves. Hi Bhavna, hi Shamir,
Hi.
uh, Sumit. So happy to have you all here.
Hi.
So we would want each one of you to introduce yourself. So I will start with, might be ladies first, or so
Okay.
being okay. So hi Bhavna, if you can introduce
Hi.
yourself, it will be great to the audience.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here at the panel, and a very good evening to all the We Do, live people who are watching us. I'm from Mumbai. I'm here from there, and so Button and Button is it's initiative basically to bring in. We've been hearing a lot about sustainability now for the last couple of years, but here it's an initiative basically to bring in to create a community and bring in the bridge. Survive with getting artisans and people on the same platform. That was the reason of creating Button and Button. We are still at a nascent stage. We started off in 2022, and we're progressing. So that's what is all about. I work across Pan India with the people and communities. So it's an effort to aware people what actually sustainability is all about, and create a unison between the customer and the artisans. That's primarily the vision and the motive behind this startup.
Button Unbutton. So amazing, amazing Bhavna. Welcome to the discussion. So
Thank
Mr.
you.
Shamir Joseph, if you could introduce yourself, your expertise, how are you adding value to the
Yes. Hello, everyone. Just want to test if you can hear me quickly. Is it loud and clear?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
you're audible.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm joining in from Mumbai, just like Bhavna as well. I am an engineer and I work as a design thinking consultant in several organizations. A few of them is IDOU, which we have an online learning experience for teaching design thinking, but also as a faculty for Amsterdam Tech, where we bring in design thinking programs into software engineering programs, AI, machine learning. So I work as a facilitator, a coach, and also help as a trainer, helping organizations as well adopt design thinking mindsets beyond just a workshop, because design thinking and innovation is not just going to happen in a workshop. It has to be something that's groomed throughout the process, and that's how creativity really goes. And I'm excited to be on this panel today with all these amazing experts and different experiences, and see what comes up in our conversation. So looking forward to that.
Thank you, Shamir, for your amazing introduction. Yes, Neelam Khernar, we want you to know more about you and your contribution to the economy at large. So, Neelam, you're not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, please. Yeah, very much. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be all with every one of you. And to introduce myself, I will start as a crisp, classic Kadesh charisma. That is me, Neelam Khernar, as I always introduce myself with this tagline. I believe, it's always good to walk the talk. I am basically based out of Ahmedabad, and I head export business, which is for over a decade now. And I believe I'm born to do anything and everything, which is, driven to go anywhere in the world. I'm exploring new things in my life. And I'm already a mother of 18 years teen age daughter, and still on to, learning and exploring newer aspects of my life. So I am now, besides exposed and exploring to be a fashion diva, a lifestyle therapist, besides also being a fitness enthusiast. That's all about me. With a 3 decade of corporate and entrepreneurial experience. I believe every day is a new learning for me, and I'm sure it's going to be a pleasurable evening, learning, having more insights of the panel members out here, and also being with the Visionary Women Circle. So I hope every one
Thank
of
you,
us have a
Neelam.
great evening.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Neelam, for adding value, even here, and joining us in this evening. Uh, so yes, Namit Bharija, if you could introduce yourself, from where you're joining, and how are you contributing to our universe?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I
Good
am
evening.
like Shamir mentioned, I'm pretty much into what he's doing, same stuff, design thinking and innovation. And I freelance projects for various companies and uh, startups and entrepreneurs across. So I love being with organizations, facilitating great innovation sessions. And I believe all these sessions are more of an opportunity for everyone to come together, which they hardly do, and create an ecosystem of innovation, creativity around. So um, I have been into this industry for over a decade now and worked with many companies and many educational institutes, and it's lovely to facilitate and provide the new age skills, especially design thinking, innovation, and similar subjects to young minds and old minds. When I say old minds, I mean the experienced minds across, and to see how they are so variable, but yet the mission is the same, to adapt. And that's and I am from New Delhi. Yeah,
Great,
thank you.
great, Namit. Thank you, thank you. Happy to have all of you here. So, to just give you a brief about Visionary Women Circle, Visionary Women Circle focuses on bringing the women entrepreneurs, creating collaborations and across the globe, and providing opportunities to grow, expand. They also nurture here the entrepreneurs with mentoring, financing, like they have a brand called She Finance. So all focus is on nurturing entrepreneurs and help them reach where they want to reach. So I am a money manifestation mentor, founder of Infinite Brain. I'm joining from Chennai today, being your moderator for this panel discussion. Thank you, and very glad to take this forward. So, starting with Bhavna, as we discuss on embracing success, and or the changing market dynamics, I think most of panelists today are from thinking and mindset and innovative way of perceiving the whole change, right? Very, I think it is going to be very interesting. So, Bhavna, if you could, if I could just ask you to share some insights on how thinking creatively can drive the growth. And also, we all need resilience, right, in industry. So, there is always a change in entertainment and textiles, especially when the markets are shifting. So, how can this creative thinking help? If you could add some light.
Okay, so I missed out. I think I'll just add to that. I come from, my profession has been last 25 years in the entertainment business, which is the most volatile space, And I have worked as a filmmaker, worked in different streams of it,
And you
at
have
different
grabbed
positions.
also national award also.
Thank
You
you.
missed to mention this.
Yes, yes. So that was my film on MFSN, which won the Dada Falke Award in 2014. So I come from a profession which has always been extremely unpredictable, volatile, extremely competitive, extremely changing. The change happens at every Friday. That's the space I come from. So very much equipped to understand, the market. Now coming to Button and Button, like I said, it's a passion project of mine because I come from that legacy. My father was one of the first pioneers in the textile business way back in 60s when he brought in screen printing and to India. So this came up from there. When I was entering into it 2 years back post COVID, I knew that I'm already getting into a market which is extremely competitive, extremely shifting, changing, every day, because there is so much happening in the textile space. There is conversation about sustainability, and there's so much expansion happening. So how do you make a space for yourself? That was very much evident and very much back of the mind when we kind of started thinking about it. And we were very much aware that it's not going to be an easy space to be, as it is come to a point where there is a saturation, but there is also room for innovative thinking. And that's where we got into thinking that. And so everybody is like doing handlooms, like I said, organic, sustainable. What How do we project ourselves? So we started with this whole thought that we bring in first we brought in the first men's collection. So generally men, as are known as the sorry to say species, but the species which believes in gray, black and blue. Yeah, so how we can create innovation to that. And that's where the journey started of Button and Button. We knew that we are going to be having a hardcore competition to the products, but there has been an innovation, firstly because we work very extensively on the fabrics. That's our space where we really want to create a little bit of more understanding of what we are trying to give difference to the customer. And then we started exploring the possibilities of designs. We do have a longer plan where we will be going into signature on the fabrics. So the fabrics are being right now developed, cultivated, which will be a niche market, which will bring a little bit of a niche and also a specialization to Button and Button. This is the larger plan, but right now we are extensively working because we understand that the market is shifting and we need to be on our toes to bring in anything innovative at every point of time. So whether be it marketing, be it production. I also entertainment came handy to me, so I have a lot of brand faces which are associated and collaborated with me on Button and Button. So that's an advantage for sure, and that has helped the brand to establish itself. So I work, if you go on my page, you'll find many faces which are very relevant and celebrities who are endorsing Button and Button. And I also bring in a lot of activities, and I bring in a lot of collaboration with the entertainment business. So right now my products are being seen on various web series. There are certain celebrities which are endorsing. So these are the innovations which we are doing. Of course, we are a bootstrap, so we have our limitations at this point of time, but we are looking forward to bringing in more collaborations and join hands with bigger entities to take this to a global level. That's pretty much Button and Button is there as of today.
So amazing, amazing. So from entertainment now to no, again niching down to just no textiles, and that to on a sustainable thing, which is the talk of the town now. So how no evolved is that thinking, right? And endorsing in movies or serials to another web series, right? So creatively keep on moving on to the emerging
Yeah,
thing.
finding different platforms, different ways to basically reach out to the larger audience. That's pretty much
Yes,
the plan.
beautiful. Yes, thank you, Bhavna.
Thank you.
If I would no want to ask Mr. Namit Bharija, no adding on to no Bhavna's no question on creative thinking. So, how in your experience as a design thinking consultant, how do you think that organizations can embed flexibility, innovation, and creative thinking into their strategies so that they can effectively navigate the this market dynamics? How do you think they can bring it in the organizations?
Yeah, uh, I think I'm audible, right? Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
audible.
yeah. Yes,
My camera got stuck. In organizations, it's pretty challenging because an organization is made up of many people, and if you see an individual, for an individual, there is so much of resistance to change. We talk about ourselves, right? We go to office, we take the same route every day, and you want to take another route, you will feel a little
yes,
uncomfortable that, oh no,
yeah,
there's a set pattern. even if the other route
Yes.
is more efficient, and we are averse to risk
Don't
taking
want
and
to.
experimenting. But when we were in college, we would do all the risk taking and all the trying all the new things. But as you grow,
Yes.
the patterns in the brain become so fixed and so non-agile, uh,
Yeah.
that uh, if we don't practice the agility, then after a while we start doing the same things again and again. So an organization is made up of many such people. So at an
Yes.
organization level, just talking about it won't help. We have to understand that an organization has to slowly and with gradually have a culture of innovation, which you say, right? Like have something so that that culture is embedded. Like today, if you talk about a culture in any organization, you say how people eat their lunch in an organization, that defines their culture pretty much. Every organization has a special way. You go to some small startup offices and you'll see the way people are eating food, and they have pretty much defined their culture. Some organizations, some startups, they have the culture of, say, we will play some games every Friday, or we'll have a movie one day a week, or every day when we have lunch we'll have to come together and eat from each other's lunches, and have that kind of a bonding together. So every small action has been created slowly and gradually within an organization, and like this an organization can use multiple approaches. So uh, I think one approach which I'm getting reminded of is the way Google, and I give this example everywhere, that Google had that 20% time policy. If you see, they allowed that out of your entire work, 20% time you give to something which you want to do. It's irrespective of
Oh,
your
amazing.
related or to your projects or not. And that's how Gmail and Google News and all these products were formed. So it was more of a serendipity for them. So giving your employees some kind of leverage, that okay, 80% time is what you are supposed to do, but 20% time do something different, and encouraging that and appreciating that. Many organizations don't appreciate creative creative thinking, right? So if you don't encourage that, employees won't do that.
Yes.
Appreciating that, and of course cross functional collaborations. So how are your people talking to each other? Are they in silos, or they are connecting with each other? Or so this also helps, because if your people are in silos all the time and they're working in an organization, then it's tough to talk about creativity. These are all hi-fi terms. That's it. Nothing happens on the ground, right? In a small startup, it's easy. Cross-functional is easy because everything is cross-functional. So everybody's working
Yes.
like a team. But in a bigger organization, you have to inculcate that cross-functional collaboration. And also, of course, as Bhavna mentioned, she's into the OTT industry, and she knows that, and we see that it's highly evolving, like how Netflix evolved. We all know the story of Netflix, and even
Yes.
today you see OTT is evolving. They are constantly in touch with their customers. If you're not in touch with your customers, and if you're only busy doing board meetings and presentations, that's not innovation. You have to be constantly in touch with your customers. That will make you more flexible and agile with the changing markets. It will happen automatically, because when you see that customers do not like what you are doing, or probably you created a web series, and the next month, the next 3 months or 6 months, nobody likes that kind of a subject. You will have to evolve, you'll have to change. Yeah, and it has changed
Yes.
since
Yes.
the onset of Netflix and all these net series. You see that the trends have changed now. There was a trend in between which was more about uh, you know harsh and violent uh, kind of stuff.
More
But
thriller
now
stuff.
Yes.
that's also going
Yeah.
down, and now it's moving into more of thrillers, and all that is coming up. Everything has a thriller into it. Even
Yes.
romance has a thriller into it. So it's changing, and I think these are the some things which can be tried in organizations.
Definitely, definitely. I know. Keep connecting with the customers gives us that nudge to keep exploring new things that is not working, experimenting. Rightly
Yeah,
said, and
yeah,
so beautiful that in the mindset thing we say that it's always 80% mindset, 20% efforts. So it's like giving 20% the time for them to creatively think can bring new innovations in the organization, and these are great strategies that I think everyone should implement. Thank you, Namit, for adding that value. Neelam, so if you could answer or let us know, how do you think currently adapting your industrial strategies are keeping up with global market trends?
So I believe, uh, change, COVID has made us to see a lot of change in the market, which is followed by the global crisis of, the war situation that we are facing with Ukraine and then Iran and Israel and stuff like that. And AI, just to add up, as a cherry on the cake, so like every one of us is experiencing change, and change now is at just such a faster pace that we barely, I mean, the generation of us, the millennials, are barely coping up with it. So if should we call it as a threat or an opportunity? And I believe, I'm kind of an optimist, so I always believe that anything which is termed to be as a change is always for the good, and so it has to be an opportunity always. I believe, as I said, I'm an exporter, so I would just say, that India, which earlier was a 100% importer of the oil, crude oil, right? It made us to get an opportunity to be an exporter to the European countries. So being an exporter, like my business was 100% to exports, but then that gives us an opportunity. Okay, well, we are not getting containers. It's been a problem worldwide with the Red Sea problem and stuff. We have kind of switched to a little bit of our business into imports, right? Because our local markets, the demands are always there with the Startup Indians kind of program that has been started by Mr. Modi. So I think that is kind of an opportunity for us. If I talk about being into my wellness business, which is for Darshana therapies, I believe COVID had opened up a whole new arena, the online sessions, the webinar that has happened. So I think earlier the market was just, limited to Ahmedabad or maybe Gujarat, but now we are a global, caterer to wellness and meditation and stuff like that. And so is my yoga, right? I said I'm a fitness enthusiast, and so my yoga is also going worldwide with Mr. Modi announcing 21st June as Yoga Day. I think it is growing by leaps and bounds. So whatever you name it, the challenge is kind of a silver lining. You might feel that it's a thunder out there, but then there's always a silver lining out there, and it's an eye that we have to pick up the threat or the adversities of life to make it out as an opportunity for us. So adapting uh, to newer things is something which we always learn, and whatever the global market shifts to, we are always, I mean, we have to just take it in our stride, whatever ways it goes. So technology, I believe it's something which should not govern us, but should be working as a slave to us. So as Namiti said that with Netflix and stuff that has been, I mean, we saw that it is going to be a threat to the movie business, like Miss Shrestha, she is also into entertainment industry. But then we see that no, it has also grown by leaps and bounds. Jo pehle shayad 100 crore mein hota tha, abhi it is happening to be in 1,000 crores, and I don't know what all things are coming up. So with the kind of mass that India has, there is an opportunity for everyone in the market. That's all I could say on this.
Amazing, Neelam. Thank you for that inputs. How can we talk about no creativity and dynamics and not mention COVID and AI, right? So
Yeah,
disruption.
I believe, Ravina, I always believe with one liner that is learn from the past, live in the present, and lure for the future. That is how it has to be.
So my favorite quote always has been like disruptions bring opportunities, and that is how these events have made. So people feared
Absolutely.
AI, but there are things where humans cannot be replaced. Thank you, Neelam, for adding the value.
My
Coming to you,
pleasure.
Shamir. Yeah, so if I could have some insights, no, our audience can have some insights on how do you think this creativity and innovation by applying design thinking can help businesses stay competitive in this fast changing market.
That's a beautiful question because I think Namit and I are often answering these questions for people. But one thing that very often we see when it comes to design thinking, when it comes to organizations that want to bring innovation, they're very focused on ideas, and that's horrible because you're never going to get an innovative idea by just asking people about ideas. It's never about the idea. And if you get into design thinking, you learn this quickly. There are ways in design thinking to come up with innovative ideas. It's a process, it's a mindset, but it really starts with a user need. It is about, as we mentioned already, talking to your users, finding out what their needs are, finding out where they are in the system, what the system looks like, not just the users, but everyone else in the system. So your employees, because they're also part of designing a solution, right? They're part of the larger system that you're designing for. So design thinking really looks at that holistically. It looks at this user need, starts with it, tries to find out what is one pain point we can go across, what is one thing that we can work with, and then starts to ideate. So while we might initially come up with this is a great idea, we go and we always are constantly in touch with our user, and that's where the difference is, because it's not just ideas of 5 6 people in a boardroom, but it's really ideas that are generated from core needs and insights that have come from the ground, and then we're talking about it now in this organization. But there's another thing of design thinking, which is also we talked about the empathy. That's one part. There's also the co-creation, and the collaboration. So Namit talked about this, where we bring in people, we have different people, teams coming in to have this collaboration. But design thinking is also to make sure to break down those silos in the organization, because it's never about the one idea that's created. It is about that co-creation method where we get in different ideas, we get half-baked ideas, we get ideas that are not great, but then we build it together. We go through a process of divergence, convergence, where you have a lot of ideas, we build them together, we break them down, we see how this thing is, and we decide on a few ideas. That's one part of it. The other part of it is really the iterations part of it and testing stuff, because again, as we said, it's very core to, it's not just about ideas, it's about really speaking to your users. And the other way is getting those ideas out of paper, building into something that's tangible, something that's easy to understand, something that can really test it in a very low fidelity way. And that's where design thinking, one of the other pillars of my design thinking, which is the iterations part of it, also comes in, because we're looking at testing things with our users, getting feedback quickly, cheaply, and as soon as possible, because then we can start to develop it and we can start to build products and services from it. So these are some pillars of design thinking that really help organizations in it. But it's also not just about the process of design, the process of building products, but it's also about the people who are in those companies and the systems and the mindset change that has happened. Because throughout this conversation, we've been seeing that change is constant, change is a journey, but all these things don't happen over time. It has to happen with intention from people in the organization. It has to be part of the strategy. It has to be enabled in teams, because what happens is we have a lot of people come in for a design thinking workshop. Great, let's have 3 days of workshop, and at the end of it, what happens, they go back to the organization which doesn't have the conditions to support innovation. And those conditions for supporting innovation is where leadership also needs to be trained in design thinking. The management also needs to be trained in design thinking, so that after that workshop that they have with the trainer, they're able to actually adapt it. They're able to say what parts of the organization do not support creativity, and that's okay, because it is a process. But work with the organization to build those systems in place so that you can really build that culture, because that is how culture is created. It's not just we have a party day of innovative day and now the culture is there. That doesn't happen. It is a constant process. It is an intention that we bring to it, and that's what design thinking does. That's what design thinking talks about, and that's the value that it brings to these spaces.
Amazing, amazing. So co-creating ideas, collecting them, then might be shuffling them, then again reworking on that, and building a culture in the organization. Wow, so that's amazing, uh, Shamir, on how you have given a small outline of how to implement this. So great insights coming on, how to creatively uh, deal with the dynamic changes in the business. So if I would again want to ask Bhavana to add a little more insights. So what do you think with your no with your experience in both entertainment and textiles? What innovative practices have you carried over in these diverse fields in your business? As you have been mentioning in the previous discussion, a little
Yeah.
more.
So I completely resonate with Shamir. He just said that it's mainly the mindsets first which needs to be cracked, and then you get into the other spaces. So I always, my mantra has been communication and then collaborations. and obviously the mindset starts the whole thing. We always talk about, that's been actually my way of looking at things, and I have been successful, is the R&D. For me, that is sacrosanct, and the first thing to basically work on anything, whether it is creating a film, a project, a textile cast, whatever I have been doing so far. For me, my research and development is extremely important. When I opened Button and Button also, it took me 2 years to take that decision, and I had a lot of support. I had a lot of pushing of people saying, oh, that's a great idea and you must do this, but I wasn't sure, because I believed that I need to first look into the market I'm entering into, do I really as a bootstrap can sustain. And in fact, it's so ironic that this evening itself, just few hours back, I was talking to another entrepreneur, and we were talking about, well, I've been 3 years bootstrapping. Do you think we can really, kind of sustain? How are we going to move? What are we going to do? This is a constant conversation which you do with yourself on a daily basis, and how do we sustain it? Because when you go into Instagrams, you see people are doing this. I know there's a lot of hogwash to it, but it's just that it brings anxieties, it brings everyday pressures. How do you deal with it? So I believe my key was that first do the R&D. Can I be the, वो हिंदी में कहते हैं लंबी रेस का घोड़ा? Can I be that? Can I really be that? If I can't, then 6 months down the line, I'll be saying, shit, I've not done a great thing, I should be out. 25 years been in the business of entertainment. I came with making a feature film. That was I wrote a feature and came to this city. I'm basically from Delhi. I'm originally from Bhopal, then got married, was in Delhi for about 10 years, and then moved to Mumbai city. And Mumbai is a city of dreams. Yes, it's a city of dreams, but it's a very, very difficult city. It has a lot of hardships. Of course, it embraces you, but it really gives you tough time. I'm sure Shamir can completely, second that. And trust me, I came, thought एक feature film बनेगी and everything will be all good. It never happened. I have done multiple things after that, but that one feature film has not happened till yet. You understand? So it's a constant, um, every day a journey to learn, unlearn, learn, unlearn, and then probably create your own world, your arena. And that has been the key for me for my entire life. And that is probably the only way to survive and to sustain in today's, not only today, but I think earlier also, the competitions were different, the spheres were different, the challenges were different. Of course, we are now in a very digital space, so the multiplication of challenges have become much faster, and every morning you get up, there is something new to look forward to. And oh, okay, this is what you want to know, this is what is happening, that's what is happening now. That Neelam just mentioned AI. Now, yes, AI was a huge jitter to everybody. And trust me, especially in our business in entertainment, everybody said, oh, every third man is going to be a director and a writer. Sorry, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It has come down. The pressures have come down. But these kind of pressures are constant. And from there, I think if your grounds is correct, which is your, कहते हैं कि इमारत बनाने के लिए पहले नीचे की नींव बड़ी, मजबूत होनी चाहिए. So I think my mantra has been, or my way of looking at life is, first get your grounds clear and be very firm what you're getting into. And I think then the challenges are going to be there. That's not going to stop. So both the ventures, I mean, of course, entertainment has been with me for many years. I've done different kinds of projects at different point of time. Sometimes done it on my own, sometimes collaboration. Of course, collaboration is the key today. That is the only way. And I think Kadambari also completely talks about it, that that is the key to go forward. So we are constantly trying to find balancing between the research development, thinking, designing, and of course collaboration. This is pretty much the roadmap which I follow. I can't hear you, Hema.
Thank you, Bhavana, for sharing your personal experience, because starting a business, mainly after COVID, has become like, हाँ business कर लेंगे, but it doesn't work like that. You have to put
No.
constant effort, and it's a lifestyle.
I mean, I have to share one
Not
experience in Mumbai post the COVID. There was suddenly the food outlets were like a madness. And every 3 months, there is a new food outlet next to my house. I live close to Yari Road. Every 3 months, there is a new food outlet because they are constantly not able to figure out, what they want to do. Everybody thought, "Arey, sabko khana chahiye," but it has really, only the people who had done their homeworks have been able to sustain. So I feel the groundwork is the key to everything, and of
exactly.
course, the way to sustain is keep innovating.
Amazing example, Bhavna, to back that, and it's very much true. So following the no question, and adding to Mr. Namit, so what do you think from design thinking perspective? How can companies balance these innovative approaches with no need for quick adapting because the things are so fast, right? So what are some common challenges, and how do they overcome this?
Yeah, it's a common problem because the market is really it needs you to be constantly evolving,
Because
and
yeah,
usually a challenge is, of course, which I mentioned before, also resistance, in which Shamir also said that mindset and that resistance is there to change, and that's very natural, right? So of course, it is not just one workshop which is ho gaya, like one design thinking workshop, and so happy the HR will be so happy, nice, the entire companies, have a tick mark. But it is an on continuous improvement process. So how they are continuously improving themselves as individuals, the leadership team, the middle management, everyone in the organization. It has to go on and on, again and again and again. We are humans, in childhood, we did not make habits until we were made to do things again and again and again, like brushing our teeth, very simple. So if our mom would have said that brushing of teeth is very important for us, things would have been different. That just by listening to her, we would have brushed our teeth. So similarly, in an organization, just by saying that, wow, what a nice experience this is. And I've seen many workshops, the leader would come in the workshop and say, all of you from today onwards have to start thinking differently. And I, inside myself, I'm laughing that it's not possible on this planet. So we have to understand. So again, continuous improvement, continuous trainings, continuous mentoring,
yes,
interventions,
yes,
and of course, um, this helps to break that resistance to change.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this involves everything. So cross-functional collaboration, all these interventions. You need to call somebody from outside. You can't just, or maybe your in-house trainers or whatever environment you create. You have to create those environments again and again. One is that. The second is, I feel that the problem with which people think with design thinking and these kind of models is that uh, they are they're basically because the market is so quick. So maybe you give a project on design thinking and it requires a little patience, because you want your employees to innovate on something, and then the employees are working on that project, and then they come up with an interesting idea, and you quickly execute that idea and test that idea, and it fails. Now what? So the first failure has a huge impression, and everybody says that, oh, I told you. The leader will say, I told you, you're not supposed to do this like this now. So stop trying all these ways. Do the same way which you have been doing forever. I am know this will work. So somewhere that intervention, that experienced mind comes in between, and stops the organization to grow and accept failure. Failure is good, but we have to be open, right? So this is a common challenge, that design thinking, innovation, all these terms, you will fail 10 times, but you will succeed. But that success which you get after 10 times is much better and much mature than that one instant success which you get. So this the organizations have to break. They have to be open to failure. And of course, also I challenge I normally see is, in innovation, people are very creative. Companies say that we are very innovative, very creative, but they are not working on the business strategy. It's not aligned. So business strategy, business goals are something else, and innovation is happening somewhere else. So we need to constantly check that whatever experiments we are trying, whatever new things we are trying, are they even worth doing it? And that's where very important thing is, I think Shamir would also agree that we need to build more MVPs. So if we say MVP is like a technical term, but MVP is very simple, that you quickly build something which you want and test it. Don't keep talking about it. Don't keep saying that, oh, talking to 1,000 people about your idea and checking and getting their feedbacks. And by the time you do it, you don't see that tangibly. So we quickly build our products in a very simple, basic, minimum fashion, and we quickly test them in the market and see how the users are reacting. So even if the users say that this is a pathetic idea, this is a pathetic product, you don't feel bad about it because you have quickly made it. But if you invest too much of time in creating something, you will want everyone to say good about it, like defense. And then you fail as an innovator. So obviously we have to quickly innovate our ideas so that we don't get attached. We don't get into a long-term relationship with that idea. It's just a first. It's basically what when you what do you call first eye romance, or what is that? I don't know what's the right word. When you look at somebody and then you like that person, it should be like that only, and you quickly test your
Love
idea.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, love at first sight. Yeah, yeah. Why don't I know
Yes.
this term? So yeah, uh, that's
Yeah.
how we can work on these several challenges and build up.
Yes, yes. So, very beautifully put, Mr. Namit. Creating that environment and constant nurturing. As you rightly said, it's not going to be that one day affair ki sikha diya and ho gaya and today you become an expert. So every discipline, whether it is a physical fitness like no Neelam, or any venture for that, mental health or design thinking or any innovation, is going to be constantly, when you nurture, only then it is going to become a little permanent. And by the time, you should be ready for a new change. So thank you, and for those the amazing detailed on this. So coming to you, Neelam. So what role do you think flexibility and innovation plays in maintaining competitiveness in your industry? And how are you integrating creative thinking in your business?
So basically, as I said, that I have been pouring into exports and then yoga and then being a lifestyle therapist. And over and above, I have been into the corporate culture and an entrepreneur right now. So you see, there is a change always. Everybody, I mean, anybody who says that I do not change or I do not like change, as Miss Shresth and Namit, they said, that change is very difficult for anybody. Nobody wants to adopt a change, but we always change every single day, every single second, we always changing. And it is the only constant thing in this world, right? So I always say that what is stuck is stealing, you're right? तने पेड़ जो होते हैं ना वो सीधे सीधे पहले कट जाते हैं. So with my profession into I believe flexibility is something which we have to adapt to the newer things that are coming our way. The agility, it helps to get agile, moving with the winds. Grass होती है ना, जैसे पवन आती है, झुक जाती है और फिर वो बच जाती है, and it doesn't get destroyed in the storm. So that is the key, I believe. Key, you have to leverage, you have to keep abreast with the newer trends in the market. Keep yourself, knowing of the demands that is upcoming, having your eye and your senses to what is coming your way. And I think the technology today is something which is a kind of a handy tool to us to help us leverage on our newer possibilities. And maybe wherever we have a weakness of ours, maybe technology is there to help us out with that. So innovations is something, I get this story that we must have all must have seen on WhatsApp or some forwards, where there are two vendors sitting next to each other, and the one vendor is selling at say maybe 20 rupees, and another vendor, he's a young boy, he's selling at 50 rupees. So this guy, who is selling at 20, he breaks down his price and he puts a board of 10 rupee, So the other guy is sitting next to him, the younger chap. What he does is he collects all the fruits from him at a cost of 10 rupees. And then the guy is left with nothing, and the younger chap, he is now having all the, share of his and now selling it at 25. The buyer has no option but to buy from him. So that is innovation. You have to find that gap. You have to penetrate. You have to flourish. I mean, there is opportunity spread all across. You got to have an eye, not get depressed. Think, that anything which has been thrown to you, it's like, the lemons thrown to you and you have to make lemonade out of it, So that's how it is, God is always great, and we have to trust first ourselves and maybe the higher energies that works. Hello?
Yeah, so such beautiful example. Yes, this video has been all around social media, and it is a very beautiful way of how you should be present in the moment, on how to win the market. And as you really said, if you don't bend or be flexible, then storm will actually break you. Otherwise, to bounce back, you have to be flexible. Beautiful analogy for being flexible, Neelam. Thank you for your input. So coming to Joseph, Shamir. So how do you think, as market trends are evolving, how does design thinking is helping business to anticipate and address the consumer needs? And how is this user feedback incorporation is also helping in this?
Okay. So I think one thing that businesses need to realize, especially those that are getting into innovation, businesses that are looking to be innovative, is that they essentially have two business models that need to run. And businesses take time sometimes to realize this. There's first, which is the business model that they currently are on, which is making them money, and that's working. And that's, as for lack of a better word, we call that as the exploitation model, because they figure out the business model, they've done that. Then there is the exploration, and this is where businesses are getting into the innovative part of it, where they're trying to figure out a new business model, a new idea, new product, services, or maybe something that's adjacent, right? But it's still innovative. It's still the exploration part. And essentially, why do we keep these very different? Because the mindsets required for exploitation and the mindset required for the exploration are very different. And often, when we try to bring an innovation into an organization that is set up to exploit the current business model, innovation is going to fail there. For example, you bring in, now we just gave the example of you bring a new idea, the person says, that this is the idea that's there, the boss says so and so, and then it fails, right? That is a symptom of the leader being in the exploitation model, when in fact they need to be in the exploration. And this is why a lot of things happen. So that's why we see in a lot of places that bring in innovation, they either have a separate hub for innovation, they have a center of excellence, whatever they call it, a separate space, but there are those businesses that are also integrated, and that is where it is, again, depends on the business, how it is set up, all the realities that exist in there to realize this. But what's important from a leader's standpoint is to realize that while you have your day-to-day business, you are exploring other business, but your mindset towards that should be different. So what I mean by that, and what it translates to, is basically understanding that it is a long process, understanding that there will be failures along the way, and that's okay. Because you're finding a new business model, you're testing things out, you're testing them quickly, you're testing them out before you bring them to the exploitation, right? Eventually, your goal is to find a business model in there that you're able to innovate and then bring towards your day-to-day business, and that becomes maybe a new vertical in your organization, and that can perform for you. So that transition period, like identifying that is different, and that transition from that is where a lot of companies do not see that. And that's where our job comes in with design thinking, to not only understand, as we said earlier, with the whole user needs, products and all that, but how organizations really adopt design thinking, because that in itself is a whole different game. It's not just about understanding the process of design thinking, but really how do we embed design thinking and innovative mindsets, innovative products, and that culture into organizations when it's just kept separate, and that's the realities. So these sort of things really get it, and feedback is great along the way, because you're constantly speaking to your users to understand those models, but also feedback from people inside the organization. And that's also important, because they are the ones who are really bringing in that culture of innovation. They are the one that seeing that change, and sometimes you have to meet for those needs as well. So design thinking talks about talking about all your users, not just the end customer. right? So it is the people in the organization, it is the leaders, everything, and all their needs in that, and that's the perspective it takes on, and that's essentially how real innovative companies are built and continue to be innovative and continue to be on the edge of their industry with innovative products. Because if you don't understand those differences and how it transitions, it can that's often when design thinking organizations try design thinking and the name of design thinking gets burned, saying, hey, we tried design thinking, it didn't work, now what, tell us what the next thing we want to try is, right? That's, we often get that as well.
Yes. So exactly. So taking feedbacks both from internal and external sources is very important, and explore and also need to exploit. Like I think Namit was telling ki there's no point keep thinking, think, execute. So it's like fail faster, succeed faster. So until you have no exhausted your random options, then only you will going to discover a new, I mean, innovate a new option. There's no point dragging with fear. You need to have that no mindset. Generally what we expect in organization or any entrepreneur or business, the risk taking mindset. So well summarized with beautiful examples on how innovation creativity is very important, and know to handle this dynamics of the market. So now to just summarize, that we need to be flexible enough, first thing, because challenges, as Samir just now said, challenges are going to be there. You're going to have failures, certainly you're going to have failures. All you need to know is to be able to accept it and keep moving on. And there is no thinking, as Bhavna was adding, ki do a very good ground research, set up a foundation, and so ready that you are into action. Once action mode mein aa gaye, there is no point you're dragging the decisions, and nothing is going to work. And constant nurturing and mentoring is the most important thing that I think is a no also takeaway, that just having creativity or just giving some ideas or mindset is not going to work. After so many years, as Namit was telling, that our brain neural system has become rigid, and to again make it flexible, it needs similar, might be at least not similar, at least few months and days of training. And yes, our brain is neuroplastic, it can adapt, but it has to be trained and nurtured in different circumstances, and that we all need to understand in the business as well. So thank you everyone for adding in inputs. Any other inputs that you would want to add about today's discussion?
One short thing is
So
that
Yeah, please,
can I?
Samir. Yeah.
So there is. I
Yep.
just wanted to actually ask. There are two experts who are talking about design thinking and innovation. Um, Being a bootstrap, it is challenging. And how do you leverage this into your system? And what are the tools which are required to basically keep doing this innovation, or the design thinking, or how to keep bring in that on a more sustainable level for any entrepreneur to kind of move forward, is something. If you could give us an insight, it'll really help.
Miss Shresh, I just 2 days back, I got one forward, and since I'm into training, I'm into lifestyle therapy. This are the questions that really come up with, and how to be sustained with the kind of challenges that has been showed to us every single day, or maybe as and when we move ahead in our lives. So I believe paid hota hai na, paid. It's working two-dimensional, right? It's the more it grows over the earth, it is also deepening itself within the earth, right? So the brain, like Hema has this, I think, a beautiful infinite brain startup, right? I believe it's a startup. So our brain it's a God's gift, with infinite possibilities. It's only that we need to have an eye as to what is that, going to be complementary to my primary business. Har ek egg, whatever eggs we have, if we put in the same basket, it's going to get, rotten, maybe at the same time, or maybe within a very short span of time. So the times that we are in good times or if we are in bad times, we have to hone on to our skills. We have to keep progressing, keep learning newer skills. जैसे मेरा exports का business था, I was into banking earlier, then I got into exports. I forayed into being a yoga practitioner, and then I got into a therapy business, which is by the name of Swadarshana. Swadarshana is like look into yourself, because whatever answers we find from others, it's normally within us. It's just that we have to sit with ourselves, we have to question ourselves and listen to the inner voice. Somewhere the answer is just within. What we are doing, as somebody said out of this panel members, like we're always looking for validations from others. Are we ever sitting with ourselves? Are we questioning ourselves? आंसर हमारे अंदर ही है, कहीं ढूंढने की जरूरत है तो सिर्फ अपने अंदर. Just look into yourself, and I think every single answer is within you. We have to be just patient with ourselves, and
I agree with that. That's a very relevant, but I just wanted to understand from the expertise, Samir and Namit, as to what are the tools, how in terms of, the process. See, there is one is the realm world where we say, talk about yourself, work on yourself and all of that. And there are some specific tools. If you could give us, just an insight to that there are certain steps which are required for any kind of innovation to happen or to be sustainable. Can you just give some light on that, both of you, as you work on a very regular basis with entrepreneurs, and that could be helpful for all of us.
Yeah, Samir and Namit, if you would add some, let's show some
Yeah.
light.
Yes.
Thank you,
Shamir,
Neelam, for adding the input as well. Yeah,
Shamir, you want to go
yeah,
first?
please.
Okay. Whenever I get the question of what tools are there, I do one exercise which I say, go online, search what design thinking tools are there, and you'll find many. And that's the problem. There are many tools of what you can use in design thinking. What I focus on is mindsets, because once you get the mindset right, you know how to use the tool. That can be gone down to practice. There are multiple videos out there. But what the key pillars, I would say, of design thinking, as I mentioned earlier as well, is understanding user needs. And even understanding user needs, there are multiple tools out there on how you can do that. Which tool you use is again contextual to what your process is as an organization. It's contextual to your challenges. It's contextual to your business. So that's why we sit with leaders of organizations, and that's why we have the coaching and mentoring sessions one-on-one to figure out what tools can we bring in once the design thinking mindset we're buying into it. So I off the hand, without getting a sense of the business, it's really hard to say what tools you can use because there are multiple. So it is contextual, but we essentially would need a tool or a bunch of tools and a collection, a method, a process of going about it, which was finding about user needs. Then we also talk about how ideas are spoken about in organizations. So there's this also one thing that we assess when jumping into organizations is how psychologically safe is it to talk about ideas in the organizations or to disagree with ideas, right? What kind of hierarchy exists in the organization? Because that tells us how much work we need to put in to change that organization culture. Because that tells also how innovative ideas are held or not held in the organization, right? So there's another part which is also the feedback in organizations. So what does that culture look like in terms of feedback of throughout the process? That's one thing. How are ideas tested? How long do people hold on to ideas before ditching them and build this? So these conversations and these two conversation with the leaders, with also managers in the organizations, help us understand what tools can we bring in, what things, understand the process and how they fit in, and then I'm able to recommend in terms of that. So I know that doesn't answer your question, but I hope it gives an insight into the process of what we follow and why
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
that way.
I just got two things as mindset and culture. I think these are the
Yes.
two, and obviously the between the two is the conversation. I think that's
Yeah.
something which is
Yeah.
key to
Yeah.
to the innovation. Yeah.
And
Namit, would
Namit,
you
I
like
think,
to
would
add
have a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would just like to add that he's pretty much said it, and I'd just like to add that doing smaller, experiments, and if you want to inculcate a design thinking way of doing things, when you know that you are the one, and there are not many people in your organization, and you're like 2 3 people together, so it's always good to take up some small, any one small problem statement just as a little game experiment, to see how your mind is playing with this. So you can start with any small problem statement and take it up, and go talk to the users, talk to your customers, take some notes, like only raw fashion, like a raw game, you're playing without any models and templates. So uh, just go out, spend some time with your customers, take the notes, put them on a wall, whatever you found out, see what you like, how you see on those detective, you are from the web series, today these web series, you see those people putting everything on the wall, and then they're connecting those dots and doing all that fun. So you can do that fun, when your information is there in front of you, something happens. So yeah, you look at this information and see what's coming up, what are the real issues you think your customers are having, and then sit together, think about some ideas, uh,
Sure.
let your mind be super creative, uh, think about, challenge yourself. Can we come up with 100 ideas in 10 minutes? So that's challenging, right? So I'm saying no models, nothing, just play with this entire scope of thing, and say, okay, lots of ideas, and then can we make some sense out of these ideas, and can we pick up something and then execute it? And if you like some ideas, you create a concept, you test it out quickly, you create a, a kind of a structure where you're able to show that in the form of a product to your customer, see how your customer is responding to the change you have created. So it's a very smaller way of doing things. It's very simple, and you will also see that how your mind is playing with this entire messing up the whole thing. It's basically a mess. So
Mm.
you will have a lot of resistance, but might have. But yeah, you can start small, and then slowly and slowly evolve on this entire each and every step, make it more mature, and then you can add your tools and also templates and make it more formal, and then I'm sure that these things help.
Nice, amazing. I like the clutter. So that's amazing. Thank you.
So amazing. Thank you, Bhavana, for bringing up that question. Hope all of us get to benefit from that. Thank you, Samir, and thank you, Namit, for adding that value on tools as well. Thank you, Neelam. So I hope we, our audience got a really a ton of value on creativity and thinking, because in any business or anything, even in a life, it's all about being able to innovate, think new ways and new perceptions. And as Neelam was telling that, seek within, ask yourself the right questions, and you will see so much of ideas and thoughts bursting out, and you getting the guidance, right? So thank you for this amazing session. Again, coming Friday with a new topic and with more experts. We are going to bring so much of knowledge here at VWC. Thank you, WC, for giving me this opportunity to host this mentor panel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thanks a
much.
lot.
Thank you
It was
for
a
having
pleasure.
us. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice
It's been a
day.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.